Question 1. Insurance principles and concepts. Principle of indemnity. Which of the following best illustrates the principle of indemnity in Florida? Personal lines insurance. A. An insurance policy compensates the insured for their actual financial loss without allowing profit from the claim. B. An insurance policy pays out a fixed amount regardless of the actual loss incurred. C. An insured is reimbursed for new, more expensive replacements for their damaged property. D. An insured is allowed to claim multiple times for the same loss. Correct answer A. An insurance policy compensates the insured for their actual financial loss without allowing profit from the claim. Explanation. The principle of indemnity is fundamental in insurance, ensuring that the insured is restored to the financial position they were in before the loss without profiting from the insurance claim. Option A is correct because it directly aligns with this principle. Option B describes a valued policy which pays a fixed amount regardless of the actual loss, not following the indemnity principle. Option C suggests betterment, which would mean the insured benefits from the claim, violating the principle of indemnity. Option D describes fraud, which is illegal and contradicts the principle of indemnity. Question 2. Personal umbrella policy. Which of the following is a key feature of a personal umbrella policy in Florida? A. It only provides coverage for physical damage to the insured's property. B. It offers additional liability coverage beyond the limits of underlying policies. C. It covers the cost of regular maintenance and repairs for the insured's property. D. It is a mandatory requirement for all homeowners. Correct answer B. It offers additional liability coverage beyond the limits of underlying policies. Explanation. A personal umbrella policy provides extra liability coverage that exceeds the limits of the insured's primary policies, such as homeowners, auto or watercraft insurance. Option B is correct because it describes this core feature of umbrella policies. Option A incorrectly focuses on physical damage, which is not covered by umbrella policies. Option C refers to maintenance and repairs, which are not covered by any insurance policies. Option D is incorrect because personal umbrella policies are optional and not mandated for all homeowners. Question 3. Scenario-based question. Inland Marine Insurance MS. Garcia has a personal articles floater under her inland marine insurance policy in Florida. During a vacation, her expensive camera is stolen from her hotel room. Which aspect of her policy will cover this loss? A. Coverage for valuable personal property. B. Coverage for personal property floater. C. Coverage for personal effects. D. Coverage for loss of use. Correct answer A. Coverage for valuable personal property. Explanation. Inland marine insurance typically includes personal articles floaters, which provide coverage for valuable personal property such as jewelry, furs, and cameras, even when the insured items are away from the insured's residence. Option A is correct because it specifies coverage for high-value items like MS. Garcia's camera. Option B refers to a broader category of personal property floaters, which may not be specific to valuable items. Option C covers personal effects, which are usually personal items carried by the insured but not specifically valuable items covered under personal articles floater. Option D involves loss of use, which is related to additional living expenses and does not apply to personal property loss. Question 4. Flood insurance. National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP). Which of the following statements about the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) is true in Florida? A. It only covers flood damage caused by hurricanes. B. It is mandatory for all homeowners in Florida. C. It provides coverage for both building property and personal property. D. It does not require a waiting period before the coverage becomes effective. Correct answer C. It provides coverage for both building property and personal property. Explanation. The National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) provides coverage for damage to both building property and personal property caused by flooding. Option C is correct because it reflects the comprehensive coverage offered by the NFIP. Option A is incorrect because the NFIP covers flood damage from various sources, not just hurricanes. Option B is incorrect as flood insurance is not mandatory for all homeowners but is required in certain high-risk flood zones. Option D is incorrect because the NFIP typically has a 30-day waiting period before the coverage becomes effective. Question 5. Homeowners insurance. Additional coverages. Which of the following is considered an additional coverage in a standard homeowners insurance policy in Florida? A. Debris removal after a covered loss. B. Replacement cost coverage for personal property. C. Medical payments to others. D. Personal liability coverage. Correct answer: A. Debris removal after covered loss. Explanation: additional coverages in a standard homeowners insurance policy typically include specific benefits that go beyond the primary coverage parts. Debris removal is one such additional coverage provided after a covered loss, like a storm or fire. Option A is correct as it is an example of additional coverage. Option B is an endorsement that can be added to cover personal property at replacement cost. Option C is part of the primary coverage under medical payments to others, coverage F. Option D falls under personal liability, coverage E, and is not considered an additional coverage. Question 6. Personal auto policy PAP. Coverage for damage to your auto. Which of the following losses would be covered under coverage for damage to your auto, Part D, in a Florida personal auto policy? A. Collision damage to the insured's car due to an accident. B. Medical expenses for injuries to passengers in the insured's car. C. Liability for bodily injury to another driver in an accident. D. Legal defense costs for a lawsuit arising from an accident. Correct answer: A. Collision damage to the insured's car due to an accident. Explanation: coverage for damage to your auto, Part D, in a personal auto policy includes collision coverage and comprehensive coverage. Collision coverage pays for damage to the insured's vehicle resulting from a collision with another vehicle or object. Option A is correct because it involves collision damage. Option B is covered under medical payments coverage, Part B. Option C is covered under liability coverage, Part A. Option D relates to liability coverage and would be included under the legal defense costs provided by Part A. Question 7. Scenario-based question. Personal liability insurance. Mr. Thompson's dog bites a visitor in his home in Florida. The visitor incurs medical expenses and decides to sue Mr. Thompson. Which coverage in Mr. Thompson's homeowner's insurance policy would address this situation? A. Coverage C. Personal property. B. Coverage E. Personal liability. C. Coverage F. Medical payments to others. D. Coverage D. Loss of use. Correct answer: B. Coverage E. Personal liability. Explanation: coverage E. Personal liability in a homeowner's insurance policy provides protection against claims for bodily injury or property damage that the insured or their family members cause to others. It includes legal defense costs if the insured is sued. Option B is correct because it covers liability for the dog bite incident. Option A covers personal property, which is unrelated to the liability claim. Option C provides payment for medical expenses without regard to fault but does not cover legal liability. Option D relates to additional living expenses if the home becomes uninhabitable and is not applicable in this scenario. Question 8. Ethics in insurance. Regulatory requirements for ethical practices. Which of the following actions by an insurance agent in Florida would be considered unethical and in violation of regulatory requirements? A. Misrepresenting policy terms to a client to make a sale. B. Providing clear and accurate information about policy coverage. C. Disclosing all relevant information to the client before policy purchase. D. Acting in the best interest of the client. Correct answer: A. Misrepresenting policy terms to a client to make a sale. Explanation: ethical conduct in insurance requires agents to act honestly and in the best interest of their clients. Misrepresenting policy terms to make a sale is unethical and violates regulatory requirements as it involves dishonesty and can lead to clients being inadequately covered or facing unexpected issues. Option A is correct because it describes unethical behavior. Options B, C, and D are examples of ethical practices that comply with regulatory requirements, ensuring clients receive accurate information and proper service. Question 9. Claims handling. Claims investigation and documentation during the claims process in Florida. Which of the following steps is crucial for ensuring an accurate and fair settlement? A. Ignoring minor details to expedite the claim. B. Conducting a thorough investigation and documenting all relevant information. C. Settling the claim based solely on the policyholder's initial report. D. Relying only on the insurance adjuster's judgment without further verification. Correct answer: B. Conducting a thorough investigation and documenting all relevant information. Explanation: a thorough investigation and proper documentation are essential in the claims process to ensure an accurate and fair settlement. This includes gathering all relevant information, verifying details, and maintaining comprehensive records of the investigation. Option B is correct because it emphasizes the importance of due diligence and accuracy. Option A is incorrect as ignoring details can lead to errors and unfair settlements. Option C is not sufficient as it may lack verification and corroboration of the policyholder's report. Option D is inadequate because relying solely on the adjuster's judgment without further verification can result in oversight and potential disputes. Proper claims handling requires a balanced approach, ensuring that all facts are considered and documented. Question 10. Insurance regulation. Licensing requirements for agents and brokers. Which of the following is a requirement for obtaining an insurance agent's license in Florida? A. Passing a state licensing examination. B. Having a minimum of 5 years of experience in the insurance industry. C. Holding a degree in finance or a related field. D. Being employed by an insurance company at the time of application. Question 11. Personal auto policy medical payments coverage. Which of the following expenses would be covered under medical payments coverage? Part B in Florida. Personal auto policy. A. Medical bills for the policyholder's injuries sustained in a car accident. B. Damage to the policyholder's car from a collision. C. Legal fees for defending a lawsuit arising from an accident. D. Costs to repair another driver's vehicle after an at-fault accident. Correct answer: A. Medical bills for the policyholder's injuries sustained in a car accident. Explanation: medical payments coverage, Part B, in a personal auto policy pays for reasonable and necessary medical expenses for the policyholder and their passengers resulting from a car accident, regardless of who is at fault. Option A is correct as it directly relates to medical expenses for injuries. Option B pertains to collision coverage under Part D. Option C involves legal defense costs, which fall under liability coverage, Part A. Option D is related to property damage liability, also covered under Part A. Question 12. Dwelling policy DP. Policy conditions. Which of the following is a common condition found in a Florida dwelling policy DPA? The insured must promptly report any loss or damage to the insurance company. B. The insured can make repairs without notifying the insurer. C. The insured is not required to take inventory of damaged personal property. D. The policy automatically covers all types of water damage. Correct answer: A. The insured must promptly report any loss or damage to the insurance company. Explanation: a common condition in dwelling policies is the requirement for the insured to promptly notify the insurance company of any loss or damage. This allows the insurer to begin the claims process and investigate the loss in a timely manner. Option A is correct because it reflects this reporting requirement. Option B is incorrect as the insured generally needs to notify the insurer before making significant repairs. Option C is incorrect because the insured often must provide an inventory of damaged property. Option D is incorrect because not all types of water damage are covered. Specific conditions and exclusions apply. Question 13. Scenario-based question. Inland Marine Insurance. Mrs. Rodriguez has an inland marine insurance policy with a personal articles floater for her valuable jewelry collection. While attending a conference in another state, her diamond ring is stolen from her hotel room. Which coverage will address this loss? A. Coverage for valuable personal property. B. Coverage for personal property floater. C. Coverage for personal effects. D. Coverage for additional living expenses. Correct answer: A. Coverage for valuable personal property. Explanation: inland marine insurance often includes personal articles floaters, which provide specific coverage for valuable items like jewelry even when they are away from the insured's residence. Option A is correct because it directly pertains to valuable personal property such as Mrs. Rodriguez's diamond ring. Option B is a broader category and may not specifically cover valuable items. Option C typically covers personal effects like luggage and clothing, not high-value items. Option D relates to additional living expenses, which are unrelated to the theft of personal property. Question 14. Health insurance overview. Affordable Care Act account implications under the Affordable Care Act account. Which of the following is a requirement for individual health insurance plans in Florida? A. They must cover essential health benefits. B. They can exclude coverage for pre-existing conditions. C. They are only available to individuals under 50 years old. D. They can have lifetime limits on coverage. Correct answer A. They must cover essential health benefits. Explanation: the Affordable Care Act account mandates that individual health insurance plans cover essential health benefits, including services like emergency care, maternity care, and prescription drugs. Option A is correct because it reflects this requirement. Option B is incorrect as the ACA prohibits exclusions for pre-existing conditions. Option C is incorrect because ACA plans are available to individuals of all ages. Option D is incorrect because the ACA prohibits lifetime limits on coverage for essential health benefits. Question 15. Personal liability insurance. Exclusions and conditions. Which of the following scenarios would typically be excluded from coverage under a personal liability insurance policy in Florida? A. Injuries caused by the insured's intentional acts. B. Injuries to a guest on the insured's property. C. Property damage caused by the insured's child. D. Legal fees for defending against a liability lawsuit. Correct answer A. Injuries caused by the insured's intentional acts. Explanation: personal liability insurance typically excludes coverage for injuries or damage resulting from intentional acts by the insured. Insurance is designed to protect against accidental or unforeseen events, not deliberate actions. Option A is correct because intentional acts are excluded. Options B, C, and D involve accidental injuries, property damage, and legal defense costs, all of which are generally covered under personal liability insurance, assuming they are not intentional. Question 16. Watercraft insurance. Liability coverage. Which of the following would be covered under the liability coverage of a watercraft insurance policy in Florida? A. Damage to the policyholder's own boat. B. Bodily injury to a swimmer caused by the insured's boat. C. Theft of the insured's boat from a marina. D. Maintenance costs for the insured's boat. Correct answer B. Bodily injury to a swimmer caused by the insured's boat. Explanation: liability coverage in watercraft insurance protects the insured against claims for bodily injury or property damage they cause to others while operating their boat. Option B is correct because it involves bodily injury to a third party. Option A refers to damage to the policyholder's own boat, which would be covered under physical damage coverage. Option C pertains to theft, which would be covered under theft coverage. Option D involves maintenance costs, which are not covered by insurance. Question 17. Ethics in insurance. Consequences of unethical behavior. Which of the following consequences might an insurance agent in Florida face for engaging in unethical behavior? A. Increased commissions from the insurance company. B. Revocation of their insurance license. C. Promotion within their company. D. A warning letter from their employer. Correct answer B. Revocation of their insurance license. Explanation: engaging in unethical behavior can have severe consequences for an insurance agent, including revocation or suspension of their insurance license by the state regulatory authorities. This ensures that agents adhere to high ethical standards and protects consumers. Option B is correct because it reflects a common and serious consequence. Option A is incorrect as unethical behavior would not result in increased commissions. Option C is incorrect because unethical behavior typically results in penalties, not promotions. Option D is a possible but less severe consequence compared to license revocation, which is more impactful. Question 18. Personal umbrella policy. Self-insured retention. What is the purpose of the self-insured retention in a personal umbrella policy in Florida? A. To cover the cost of regular maintenance on the insured's property. B. To pay for damages that are specifically excluded under the umbrella policy. C. To serve as a deductible before the umbrella policy pays out on a claim. D. To guarantee coverage for all possible losses the insured might face. Correct answer C. To serve as a deductible before the umbrella policy pays out on a claim. Explanation: the self-insured retention in a personal umbrella policy acts like a deductible. It is the amount the insured must pay out of pocket before the umbrella policy will respond to a claim not covered by any underlying policy. Option C is correct because it describes the SIR's function as a deductible. Option A is incorrect as it refers to maintenance costs which are not covered by insurance. Option B is incorrect because damages excluded by the umbrella policy are not covered by any insurance. Option D is incorrect because no insurance policy guarantees coverage for all possible losses. Question 19. Emerging issues in personal lines insurance. Impact of climate change. How does climate change impact personal lines insurance policies in Florida? A. It has no effect on insurance policies as they are based solely on historical data. B. It leads to increased premiums and changes in underwriting practices due to higher risk of natural disasters. C. It results in a decrease in the number of policies written by insurers. D. That guarantees that all claims related to natural disasters will be fully covered. Correct answer. B. It leads to increased premiums and changes in underwriting practices due to higher risk of natural disasters. Explanation. Climate change has a significant impact on personal lines insurance, especially in states like Florida that are prone to natural disasters. Insurers adjust premiums and underwriting practices to account for the increased frequency and severity of events like hurricanes and floods. Option B is correct because it highlights these adjustments. Option A is incorrect as insurers consider future risks, not just historical data. Option C is incorrect as insurers may adjust coverage but do not necessarily decrease the number of policies written. Option D is incorrect because insurance coverage always has limitations and exclusions even for natural disasters. Question 20. Claims handling. Fraud detection and prevention. Which of the following is a common method used by insurers in Florida to detect and prevent insurance fraud? A. Conducting thorough investigations and using data analytics to identify suspicious claims. B. Reducing claim payouts across the board to deter fraudulent activity. C. Requiring policyholders to submit multiple claims forms for every incident. D. Automatically denying all claims initially to force further scrutiny. Correct answer. A. Conducting thorough investigations and using data analytics to identify suspicious claims. Explanation. Insurers use a variety of methods to detect and prevent fraud, including thorough investigations and advanced data analytics to identify patterns and anomalies that may indicate fraudulent activity. Option A is correct as it reflects these common practices. Option B is incorrect as it is not a viable or fair method to address fraud and would negatively affect honest policyholders. Option C is incorrect because while documentation is important, excessive paperwork is not an effective anti-fraud measure. Option D is incorrect as automatically denying claims is not a standard practice and would lead to significant customer dissatisfaction and legal issues. Question 21. Personal auto policy PAB. Uninsured underinsured motorist coverage in Florida. What does uninsured underinsured motorist coverage, Part C, protect against? A. Damage to the insured's vehicle caused by a hit-and-run driver. B. Bodily injury to the insured caused by a driver with insufficient or no insurance. C. Theft of the insured's vehicle. D. Legal defense costs in a liability lawsuit. Correct answer. B. Bodily injury to the insured caused by a driver with insufficient or no insurance. Explanation. Uninsured underinsured motorist coverage, Part C, in a personal auto policy protects the insured against bodily injury caused by a driver who either has no insurance or insufficient insurance to cover the damages. Option B is correct because it directly relates to bodily injury protection. Option A pertains to hit-and-run coverage but focuses on property damage, which may be covered under other parts of the policy. Option C relates to theft, which is covered under comprehensive coverage, Part D. Option D involves legal defense costs, which fall under liability coverage, Part A. Question 22. Homeowners insurance. Perils insured against. Which of the following perils is typically excluded from a standard homeowners insurance policy in Florida? A. Fire. B. Flood. C. Theft. D. Windstorm. Correct answer. B. Flood. Explanation. A standard homeowners insurance policy typically excludes flood damage, which requires separate flood insurance, usually through the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP). Option B is correct because floods are a common exclusion. Options A, C, and D are incorrect as fire, theft, and windstorm are generally covered perils under standard homeowners insurance policies, although windstorm coverage may require specific endorsements in some high-risk areas. Question 23. Personal liability insurance. Coverage overview in a personal liability insurance policy in Florida. What is typically covered? A. Injuries to a neighbor caused by the insured's negligence. B. The insured's medical expenses. C. The insured's property damage. D. Legal disputes between the insured and their spouse. Correct answer: A. Injuries to a neighbor caused by the insured's negligence. Explanation: personal liability insurance covers the insured against claims for bodily injury or property damage caused to others due to the insured's negligence. Option A is correct as it involves injuries to a third party caused by the insured's actions. Option B is incorrect because personal liability insurance does not cover the insured's own medical expenses. Option C is incorrect as it does not cover the insured's property damage. Option D is incorrect because personal liability insurance does not cover legal disputes between the insured and their spouse. Question 24. Insurance principles and concepts. Principles of indemnity. What does the principle of indemnity ensure in the context of Florida insurance policies? A. The insured can profit from a loss. B. The insured is restored to the same financial position as before the loss. C. The insured receives double the amount of the loss. D. The insurer guarantees a profit on all policies. Correct answer: B. The insured is restored to the same financial position as before the loss. Explanation: the principle of indemnity ensures that the insured is compensated to restore their financial position to what it was before the loss without allowing them to profit from the insurance claim. Option B is correct because it accurately reflects the intent of indemnity. Option A is incorrect because indemnity prevents profit from a loss. Option C is incorrect as it overcompensates the insured. Option D is incorrect as it refers to the insurer, not the insured, and profitability is not guaranteed by the principle of indemnity. Question 25. Insurance regulation. Unfair trade practices. Which of the following is considered an unfair trade practice under Florida insurance law? A. Offering discounts to long-term customers. B. Misleading a policyholder about the terms of their policy. C. Providing clear and accurate policy information. D. Giving prompt responses to customer inquiries. Correct answer: B. Misleading a policyholder about the terms of their policy. Explanation: misleading a policyholder about the terms of their policy is considered an unfair trade practice because it involves dishonesty and can result in the policyholder being inadequately covered or facing unexpected issues. Option B is correct as it describes an unfair practice. Option A is incorrect because offering discounts is a common and fair business practice. Option C is incorrect as providing clear and accurate information is ethical and required. Option D is incorrect because prompt responses to customer inquiries are part of good customer service. Question 26. Inland marine insurance. Personal property floater. What is typically covered under a personal property floater in an inland marine insurance policy in Florida? A. The insured's home structure. B. High-value personal items such as jewelry and electronics. C. General liability coverage for the insured. D. Loss of income due to a business interruption. Correct answer: B. High-value personal items such as jewelry and electronics. Explanation: a personal property floater in an inland marine insurance policy provides coverage for high-value personal items that may not be fully covered under standard homeowners insurance. Option B is correct because it includes items like jewelry, electronics, and other valuable personal property. Option A is incorrect as it pertains to dwelling coverage. Option C involves liability coverage, which is separate from property coverage. Option D is related to business interruption, not personal property. Question 27. Earthquake insurance. Policy structure. Which of the following is a typical feature of an earthquake insurance policy in Florida? A. A high deductible specific to earthquake damage. B. Coverage for all types of natural disasters. C. No exclusions for any type of property damage. D. Guaranteed full replacement cost for all claims. Correct answer: A. A high deductible specific to earthquake damage. Explanation: earthquake insurance policies often feature high deductibles specific to earthquake damage, reflecting the significant risk and potential cost of such events. Option A is correct because of the high deductible typically associated with earthquake coverage. Option B is incorrect as earthquake insurance specifically covers earthquake damage, not all natural disasters. Option C is incorrect because there are exclusions in earthquake policies, as in all insurance policies. Option D is incorrect because not all claims are guaranteed full replacement cost. Actual coverage depends on the terms of the policy. Question 28. Flood insurance. National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP). What is a key characteristic of the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) in Florida? A. It provides coverage for flood damage that is not covered by standard homeowners insurance. B. It offers unlimited coverage amounts for flood damage. C. It requires a separate policy for each household member. D. It guarantees coverage for all water damage, including from broken pipes. Correct answer A. It provides coverage for flood damage that is not covered by standard homeowners insurance. Explanation. The National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) provides coverage specifically for flood damage, which is typically excluded from standard homeowners insurance policies. Option A is correct because it highlights the NFIP's role in covering flood damage. Option B is incorrect as the NFIP has coverage limits. Option C is incorrect as a single policy can cover the household. Option D is incorrect because the NFIP specifically covers flood damage, not all types of water damage, which may include issues like broken pipes. Question 29. Personal umbrella policy. Exclusions and conditions. Which of the following is generally excluded from coverage under personal umbrella policy in Florida? A. Liability for bodily injury caused by the insured. B. Intentional acts by the insured resulting in damage or injury. C. Legal fees for defending against liability claims. D. Liability arising from a car accident. Correct answer B. Intentional acts by the insured resulting in damage or injury. Explanation. Personal umbrella policies generally exclude coverage for intentional acts by the insured that result in damage or injury, as insurance is meant to cover accidental and unforeseen events. Option B is correct because intentional acts are excluded. Option A is incorrect as bodily injury liability is typically covered. Option C is incorrect as legal defense costs are often covered. Option D is incorrect because liability from car accidents is covered often in excess of underlying auto policies. Question 30. Health insurance overview. Preferred Provider Organizations (PPOS). What is a distinguishing feature of Preferred Provider Organizations (PPOS) in Florida? Health insurance plans. A. PPOS do not require any premiums. B. PPOS offer more flexibility in choosing healthcare providers compared to HMOS. C. PPOS require all medical services to be pre-approved by the insurer. D. PPOS limit coverage only to emergency services. Correct answer B. PPOS offer more flexibility in choosing healthcare providers compared to HMOS. Explanation. Preferred Provider Organizations (PPOS) allow policyholders greater flexibility in choosing healthcare providers, including seeing specialists without a referral and using out-of-network providers, although at higher costs. Option B is correct because it highlights this flexibility. Option A is incorrect as PPOS do require premiums. Option C is incorrect because PPOS typically do not require pre-approval for all services. Option D is incorrect as PPOS cover a wide range of services, not just emergencies. Question 31. Insurance principles and concepts. Utmost good faith. What is the principle of utmost good faith in the context of Florida insurance policies? A. Both parties to the insurance contract must act honestly and disclose all relevant facts. B. The insurer is solely responsible for disclosing policy details. C. The insured can withhold information that may increase their premium. D. The principle applies only to life insurance policies. Correct answer A. Both parties to the insurance contract must act honestly and disclose all relevant facts. Explanation. The principle of utmost good faith requires both the insurer and the insured to act honestly and disclose all material information that could affect the insurance contract. Option A is correct because it captures the essence of utmost good faith. Option B is incorrect because both parties have disclosure responsibilities. Option C is incorrect as withholding relevant information is a breach of this principle. Option D is incorrect because utmost good faith applies to all types of insurance policies, not just life insurance. Question 32. Dwelling policy DP. Coverage D. Fair rental value. What does coverage D. Fair rental value in a dwelling policy DP in Florida provide? A. Reimbursement for the insured's personal property loss. B. Coverage for the insured's legal liability. C. Compensation for lost rental income if A covered loss makes the rental property uninhabitable. D. Coverage for flood damage to the rental property. Correct answer. C. Compensation for lost rental income if a covered loss makes the rental property uninhabitable. Explanation. Coverage D. Fair rental value provides compensation for the loss of rental income if a covered peril makes the rental property uninhabitable. Option C is correct because it reflects the purpose of coverage D. Option A is incorrect as it pertains to personal property, which is covered under coverage C. Option B is incorrect as it relates to liability, which is not the focus of coverage D. Option D is incorrect because flood damage requires separate flood insurance. Question 33. Claims handling. Dispute resolution and litigation in Florida. What is a common method for resolving disputes between an insurer and an insured over a claim? A. Mediation. B. Ignoring the dispute. C. Automatically siding with the insurer. D. Allowing the insured to unilaterally decide the outcome. Correct answer A. Mediation. Explanation. Mediation is a common method for resolving disputes between insurers and insureds, providing a neutral third party to help negotiate a settlement. Option A is correct because mediation is widely used in the insurance industry. Option B is incorrect as disputes cannot be ignored. Option C is incorrect as fair dispute resolution requires impartiality. Option D is incorrect as it is unrealistic and unregulated for the insured to decide the outcome unilaterally. Question 34. Homeowners insurance. Additional coverages. Which of the following is typically included as an additional coverage in a standard homeowners insurance policy in Florida? A. Coverage for intentional acts by the insured. B. Debris removal after a covered loss. C. Replacement cost coverage for luxury items without limitations. D. Flood damage coverage. Correct answer. B. Debris removal after covered loss. Explanation. Additional coverages in standard homeowners insurance policies often include debris removal after covered loss, ensuring that the property is cleared and restored after an incident. Option B is correct as debris removal is a common additional coverage. Option A is incorrect as intentional acts are excluded. Option C is incorrect as there are usually limitations on replacement cost for luxury items. Option D is incorrect because flood damage requires separate insurance. Question 35. Health insurance overview. Affordable Care Act account. Implications under the Affordable Care Act account. Which of the following is a requirement for health insurance policies in Florida? A. Coverage only for major medical expenses. B. Provision of essential health benefits. C. Exclusion of pre-existing conditions. D. Limitation of coverage to individuals under 30 years old. Correct answer. B. Provision of essential health benefits. Explanation. The Affordable Care Act account mandates that health insurance policies provide a set of essential health benefits, including preventive services, emergency services, maternity care, and more. Option B is correct because it aligns with ACA requirements. Option A is incorrect as the ACA requires comprehensive coverage beyond major medical expenses. Option C is incorrect as the ACA prohibits exclusion of pre-existing conditions. Option D is incorrect as the ACA applies to individuals of all ages, not just those under 30. Question 36. Inland marine insurance. Personal articles floater. What does a personal articles floater typically cover in an inland marine insurance policy in Florida? A. High value items such as jewelry, art, and furs. B. General liability for the insured. C. Structural damage to the insured's home. D. Loss of use of the insured's vehicle. Correct answer A. High value items such as jewelry, art, and furs. Explanation. A personal articles floater provides coverage for high value items that might exceed the coverage limits of standard homeowners policies. This includes jewelry, art, furs, and other valuable personal property. Option A is correct because it specifically relates to high value items. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to liability, which is separate from personal property coverage. Option C is incorrect as it involves structural damage to the home covered under homeowners insurance. Option D is incorrect because it relates to vehicle use, which is covered under auto insurance. Question 37. Personal auto policy PAP. Duties after an accident or loss. Part A. What is one of the primary duties of the insured after an accident or loss under personal auto policy? Part A. In Florida. A. Immediately repairing the vehicle before notifying the insurer. B. Promptly notifying the insurer of the accident or loss. C. Settling the claim directly with the other party involved. D. Ignoring minor accidents and not reporting them. Correct answer. B. Promptly notifying the insurer of the accident or loss. Explanation. One of the primary duties of the insured after an accident or loss is to promptly notify the insurer, providing all necessary details to facilitate the claims process. Option B is correct because timely notification is crucial for claim handling. Option A is incorrect as repairs should not be made before notifying the insurer. Option C is incorrect because the insured should not independently settle claims. Option D is incorrect as all accidents, regardless of severity, should be reported to the insurer. Question 38. Flood insurance. Coverage parts. Which part of a standard flood insurance policy in Florida provides coverage for the contents of a home? A. Personal property. B. Building property. C. Increased cost of compliance. D. Liability coverage. Correct answer A. Personal property. Explanation. The personal property part of a standard flood insurance policy covers the contents of a home, including furniture, electronics, clothing, and other personal items. Option A is correct because it refers to contents coverage. Option B is incorrect as it covers the structure of the home. Option C is incorrect as it pertains to costs associated with compliance with local floodplain management laws. Option D is incorrect as it is not typically included in flood insurance policies. Question 39. Watercraft insurance. Exclusions and conditions. Which of the following is generally excluded from watercraft insurance coverage in Florida? A. Damage caused by natural disasters. B. Damage resulting from wear and tear. C. Liability for injuries to third parties. D. Theft of the insured watercraft. Correct answer. B. Damage resulting from wear and tear. Explanation. Watercraft insurance policies typically exclude coverage for damage resulting from wear and tear, as this is considered a maintenance issue rather than an insurable risk. Option B is correct because wear and tear is a common exclusion. Option A is incorrect as natural disasters may be covered depending on the policy. Option C is incorrect because liability for injuries to third parties is typically included. Option D is incorrect as theft is usually covered. Question 40. Claims handling. Adjusting and settlement procedures in Florida. What is a common practice during the claims adjusting and settlement process? They evaluating the extent of loss and negotiating the settlement. B. Ignoring the policyholder's input. C. Automatically denying claims that exceed a certain amount. D. Finalizing settlements without any documentation. Correct answer A. Evaluating the extent of loss and negotiating the settlement. Explanation. During the claims adjusting and settlement process, the insurer evaluates the extent of the loss and negotiates the settlement with the policyholder to ensure fair compensation. Option A is correct because it reflects standard adjusting practices. Option B is incorrect as the policyholder's input is important. Option C is incorrect because claims are evaluated on their merits, not automatically denied based on the amount. Option D is incorrect because thorough documentation is essential for the settlement process. Question 41. Homeowners insurance. Types of policies. Hole to height. Which type of homeowners insurance policy in Florida is specifically designed for older homes that might not qualify for standard coverage? A. HO1. B. HO3. C. Height. D. HO5. Correct answer. C. Height. Explanation. The height policy is designed for older homes that might not qualify for standard coverage due to the higher cost of repairs using materials and techniques similar to the original construction. Option C is correct because it identifies the height policy. Option A, HO1 provides basic coverage. Option B, HO3 is a standard policy with broader coverage. And option D, HO5 offers even more comprehensive coverage, but none of these are specifically for older homes. Question 42. Ethics in insurance. Professional ethics and conduct. What is a primary ethical obligation of insurance agents in Florida? A. Acting in the best interest of the client. B. Maximizing their commissions regardless of client needs. C. Offering policies without disclosing all relevant details. D. Ensuring the insurer always profits from each policy sold. Correct answer A. Acting in the best interest of the client. Explanation: insurance agents have an ethical obligation to act in the best interest of their clients, ensuring that they provide appropriate advice and policies that meet their clients' needs. Option A is correct because it reflects this ethical duty. Option B is incorrect as focusing solely on commissions can lead to unethical behavior. Option C is incorrect as full disclosure is required for ethical conduct. Option D is incorrect as the agent's primary concern should be the client, not the insurer's profit. Question 43. Personal auto policy medical payments coverage. Part B. What does medical payments coverage? Part B. In a personal auto policy typically cover in Florida. A. Medical expenses for the insured and passengers injured in an accident. B. Liability for damage to other vehicles. C. Repairs to the insured's vehicle. D. Legal defense costs in a liability lawsuit. Correct answer A. Medical expenses for the insured and passengers injured in an accident. Explanation: medical payments coverage, Part B, covers medical expenses for the insured and their passengers who are injured in an accident, regardless of fault. Option A is correct because it accurately describes the coverage. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to liability coverage. Option C is incorrect as it relates to physical damage coverage. Option D is incorrect as it involves legal defense costs under liability coverage. Question 44. Personal umbrella policy. Self-insured retention. What is self-insured retention, sir, in the context of a personal umbrella policy in Florida? A. The maximum amount that insurer will pay for a claim. B. The total premium paid by the insured. C. The amount that insured must pay out of pocket before the umbrella policy provides coverage. D. The deductible for the underlying policies. Correct answer C. The amount the insured must pay out of pocket before the umbrella policy provides coverage. Explanation: self-insured retention, sir, is the amount the insured must pay out of pocket before the umbrella policy kicks in, similar to a deductible but specific to umbrella policies. Option C is correct because it defines SIR accurately. Option A is incorrect as it describes policy limits. Option B is incorrect as it refers to premiums. Option D is incorrect because it describes a deductible, which is different from SIR. Question 45. Dwelling policy DP. Policy conditions and exclusions. Which of the following is a common exclusion in a dwelling policy DP in Florida? A. Fire damage to the dwelling. B. Damage caused by neglect or intentional acts. C. Loss of rental income. D. Windstorm damage to the dwelling. Correct answer B. Damage caused by neglect or intentional acts. Explanation: dwelling policies typically exclude coverage for damage resulting from neglect or intentional acts by the insured. Option B is correct because such exclusions are standard. Option A is incorrect as fire damage is usually covered. Option C is incorrect because loss of rental income is often covered under specific provisions. Option D is incorrect as windstorm damage is typically covered, although it may require specific endorsements in high-risk areas. Question 46. Insurance principles and concepts. Risk management process. What is a primary step in the risk management process for insurance in Florida? A. Identifying potential risks. B. Ignoring minor risks. C. Minimizing the cost of premiums. D. Arbitrarily selecting insurance policies. Correct answer A. Identifying potential risks. Explanation: a primary step in the risk management process is identifying potential risks that could affect the individual or property. This step is crucial for understanding what needs to be protected and selecting appropriate insurance coverage. Option A is correct because identifying risks is the foundational step. Option B is incorrect as all risks should be considered. Option C is part of risk management but not the primary step. Option D is incorrect as selecting policies should be a deliberate process based on identified risks. Question 47. Claims handling. Fraud detection and prevention. Which of the following is a method used by insurers in Florida to detect and prevent fraud in claims? A. Automatically denying large claims. B. Using data analytics and pattern recognition. C. Requiring all claims to be notarized. D. Ignoring suspicious activities. Correct answer B. Using data analytics and pattern recognition. Explanation: insurers use data analytics and pattern recognition to detect and prevent fraud by identifying unusual or suspicious patterns in claims data. Option B is correct because these tools help insurers efficiently identify potential fraud. Option A is incorrect as claims are evaluated on their merits. Option C is not a standard practice for fraud prevention. Option D is incorrect because suspicious activities must be investigated to prevent fraud. Question 14. Personal auto policy PAP. Uninsured underinsured motorist coverage. Part C. What does uninsured underinsured motorist coverage? Part C. In a personal auto policy PAP in Florida protect against A. Bodily injury to the insured caused by a driver with insufficient or no insurance. B. Physical damage to the insured's vehicle. C. Legal liability for accidents caused by the insured. D. Medical payments for passengers in other vehicles. Correct answer A. Bodily injury to the insured caused by a driver with insufficient or no insurance. Explanation. Uninsured underinsured motorist coverage. Part C protects the insured against bodily injury caused by drivers who have no insurance or insufficient insurance. Option A is correct because it defines the coverage. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to physical damage coverage. Option C is incorrect as it involves liability coverage. Option D is incorrect as it is related to medical payments coverage. Question 49. Flood insurance. The increased cost of compliance. What does the increased cost of compliance coverage in a flood insurance policy in Florida provide? A. Funds to help bring your property into compliance with floodplain management laws after a flood. B. Additional coverage for personal property. C. Unlimited funds for rebuilding any type of damage. D. Coverage for business interruption losses. Correct answer A. Funds to help bring a property into compliance with floodplain management laws after a flood. Explanation. Increased cost of compliance coverage provides funds to help bring a property into compliance with current floodplain management laws if it is substantially damaged by a flood. Option A is correct because it accurately describes ICC coverage. Option B is incorrect as ICC does not cover personal property. Option C is incorrect because ICC has limits and specific conditions. Option D is incorrect as business interruption is not covered by ICC. Question 50. Health insurance overview. High deductible health policies. What is a primary feature of high deductible health policies in Florida? A. Low premiums and higher deductibles. B. No out-of-pocket costs for the insured. C. Mandatory coverage of all medical expenses. D. Coverage only for emergency services. Correct answer A. Lower premiums and higher deductibles. Explanation. High deductible health policies are characterized by lower premiums and higher deductibles, making them cost-effective for individuals who do not expect to have significant medical expenses. Option A is correct because it describes the primary feature HPS. Option B is incorrect as HDHPS involve out-of-pocket costs. Option C is incorrect as not all medical expenses are covered without meeting the deductible first. Option D is incorrect because HDHPS cover more than just emergency services, although high deductibles apply. Question 51. Personal auto policy PAP. Coverage for damage to your auto. Part D. What does Part D of a personal auto policy PAP in Florida typically cover? A. Damage to the insured's vehicle caused by collision and other perils. B. Medical expenses for passengers. C. Liability for injuries to third parties. D. Rental car reimbursement. Correct answer A. Damage to the insured's vehicle caused by collision and other perils. Explanation. Part D of a personal auto policy covers physical damage to the insured's vehicle caused by collisions and other perils, such as theft, vandalism, and natural disasters. Option A is correct because it accurately describes Part D coverage. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to medical payments coverage. Option C is incorrect as it involves liability coverage. Option D is not typically included in Part D, but may be available as an optional coverage. Question 52. Homeowners insurance. Policy exclusions. Which of the following is a common exclusion in a homeowners insurance policy in Florida? A. Fire damage to the dwelling. B. Flood damage. C. Theft of personal property. D. Liability for injuries on the property. Correct answer B. Flood damage. Explanation. Flood damage is commonly excluded from standard homeowners insurance policies and typically requires separate flood insurance coverage. Option B is correct because flood damage is a standard exclusion. Option A is incorrect as fire damage is generally covered. Option C is incorrect because theft of personal property is usually included. Option D is incorrect as liability coverage for injuries on the property is typically included. Question 53, Dwelling Policy DP. Coverage with dwelling. What does coverage a ICA dwelling policy DP in Florida cover? A, loss of personal property. B, the physical structure of the dwelling. C, liability for injuries to guests. D, additional living expenses. Correct answer, B, the physical structure of the dwelling. Explanation: coverage a ICA dwelling policy covers the physical structure of the dwelling, including attached structures such as a garage or deck. Option B is correct because it describes the primary coverage for the dwelling itself. Option A is incorrect as it pertains to personal property, which is covered under coverage C. Option C is incorrect as it involves liability coverage. Option D is incorrect as it pertains to additional living expenses, which is covered under coverage E. Question 54. Personal umbrella policy. Exclusions and conditions. Which of the following is commonly excluded from coverage under a personal umbrella policy in Florida? A, liability for auto accidents. B, liability for injuries on the insured's property. C, intentional acts by the insured. D, liability for slander or libel. Correct answer, C, intentional acts by the insured. Explanation: personal umbrella policies typically exclude coverage for intentional acts by the insured, as these are considered deliberate and not accidental. Option C is correct because intentional acts are a common exclusion. Options A, B, and D are incorrect because umbrella policies generally cover liability for auto accidents, injuries on the insured's property, and liability for slander or libel, provided these are not intentional acts. Question 55. Flood insurance. National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP. What is the primary purpose of the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP, in Florida? A, to provide affordable flood insurance to property owners. B, to eliminate the need for private flood insurance. C, to cover damages from all types of natural disasters. D, to provide liability coverage for flood-related injuries. Correct answer, A, to provide affordable flood insurance to property owners. Explanation: the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP, aims to provide affordable flood insurance to property owners, encouraging communities to adopt and enforce floodplain management regulations. Option A is correct because it accurately reflects the primary purpose of the NFIP. Option B is incorrect as the NFIP supplements rather than eliminates private insurance. Option C is incorrect as the NFIP specifically covers flood-related damages. Option D is incorrect because the NFIP focuses on property damage rather than liability for injuries. Question 56. Personal auto policy liability coverage. Part A. Which of the following is covered under liability coverage? Part A of a personal auto policy in Florida. A, bodily injury to other people caused by the insured. B, damage to the insured's own vehicle. C, medical payments for the insured and passengers. D, uninsured motorist coverage. Correct answer, A, bodily injury to other people caused by the insured. Explanation: liability coverage. Part A of a personal auto policy covers the insured's legal responsibility for bodily injury or property damage to others in an accident for which the insured is at fault. Option A is correct as it pertains to the liability of the insured. Option B is incorrect because it refers to physical damage coverage. Option C is incorrect as it is covered under medical payments coverage, Part B. Option D is incorrect because it is covered under uninsured motorist coverage, Part C. Question 57. Homeowners insurance. Additional coverages. Which of the following is typically included as an additional coverage in a standard homeowners insurance policy in Florida? A, debris removal. B, liability for business activities conducted at home. C, flood damage. D, earthquake damage. Correct answer, A, debris removal. Explanation: debris removal is often included as an additional coverage in standard homeowners insurance policies, providing coverage for the cost of removing debris following a covered loss. Option A is correct because it reflects this additional coverage. Option B is incorrect because liability for business activities usually requires separate coverage. Options C and D are incorrect as flood and earthquake damages are generally excluded from standard policies and require separate endorsements or policies. Question 58. Ethics in insurance. Consequences of unethical behavior. What is a possible consequence of unethical behavior for insurance agents in Florida? A. Revocation of their insurance license. B. Increased commission rates. C. Automatic renewal of their license. D. Eligibility for industry awards. Correct answer A. Revocation of their insurance license. Explanation. Unethical behavior can result in severe consequences for insurance agents, including the revocation of their insurance license by regulatory authorities. Option A is correct as it reflects a common and significant consequence. Option B is incorrect as unethical behavior would not lead to increased commissions. Option C is incorrect because unethical behavior can lead to penalties rather than automatic renewal. Option D is incorrect as unethical behavior would disqualify agents from receiving industry awards. Question 59. Dwelling policy DP. Fair rental value coverage D. What does fair rental value coverage D in a dwelling policy in Florida provide? A. Compensation for lost rental income if the dwelling becomes uninhabitable. B. Payment for the repair of the insured dwelling. C. Coverage for the personal property of tenants. D. Liability coverage for injuries to tenants. Correct answer A. Compensation for lost rental income if the dwelling becomes uninhabitable. Explanation. Fair rental value coverage D compensates the insured for lost rental income if the rented dwelling becomes uninhabitable due to a covered loss. Option A is correct because it accurately describes fair rental value coverage. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to coverage as dwelling. Option C is incorrect because it relates to coverage C, personal property. Option D is incorrect as it involves liability coverage. Question 60. Inland marine insurance. Personal property floater. Which type of property is typically covered under a personal property floater in an inland marine insurance policy in Florida? A. Personal items such as jewelry, cameras, and fine arts. B. Structural components of a building. C. General liability for the insured. D. Loss of use of the insured's home. Correct answer A. Personal items such as jewelry, cameras, and fine arts. Explanation. A personal property floater in an inland marine insurance policy covers high-value personal items such as jewelry, cameras, and fine arts that may not be fully covered under standard homeowners policies. Option A is correct because it specifies the type of property covered by the floater. Option B is incorrect as it relates to structural components, which are covered by property insurance. Option C is incorrect as it pertains to liability insurance. Option D is incorrect because loss of use coverage is part of homeowners insurance. Question 61. Health insurance overview. Affordable Care Act account. Implications under the Affordable Care Act account. Which of the following is required for health insurance plans offered in Florida? A. Coverage for pre-existing conditions. B. Unlimited lifetime coverage limits. C. Mandatory coverage only for catastrophic events. D. No coverage for prescription drugs. Correct answer A. Coverage for pre-existing conditions. Explanation. The Affordable Care Act account requires health insurance plans to cover pre-existing conditions, ensuring that individuals cannot be denied coverage based on their health history. Option A is correct because it reflects this requirement. Option B is incorrect as the ACA sets limits on out-of-pocket costs but does not mandate unlimited lifetime coverage limits. Option C is incorrect as the ACA requires a range of essential health benefits beyond just catastrophic events. Option D is incorrect as prescription drug coverage is one of the essential health benefits mandated by the ACA. Question 62. Watercraft insurance. Physical damage coverage. What does physical damage coverage in a watercraft insurance policy in Florida typically cover? A. Damage to the insured's boat due to collision or other perils. B. Liability for injuries to other boaters. C. Medical payments for the insured and passengers. D. Loss of personal property on board the boat. Correct answer A. Damage to the insured's boat due to collision or other perils. Explanation. Physical damage coverage in a watercraft insurance policy covers damage to the insured's boat resulting from collisions and other perils such as fire, theft, and vandalism. Option A is correct because it accurately describes physical damage coverage. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to liability coverage. Option C is incorrect as it relates to medical payments coverage. Option D is incorrect as loss of personal property may be covered under a separate personal effects coverage. Question 63. Insurance regulation. State insurance departments and their functions. Which of the following is a primary function of the Florida Office of Insurance Regulation? A. Regulating and licensing insurance companies and agents. B. Providing insurance policies to residents. C. Managing claims for policyholders. D. Setting federal insurance standards. Correct answer A. Regulating and licensing insurance companies and agents. Explanation. The Florida Office of Insurance Regulation is responsible for regulating and licensing insurance companies and agents, ensuring compliance with state insurance laws and protecting consumers. Option A is correct because it reflects the primary function of the state insurance department. Option B is incorrect as insurance companies provide policies. Option C is incorrect because managing claims is the responsibility of insurance companies. Option D is incorrect as setting federal insurance standards falls under federal agencies. Question 64. Claims handling. Adjusting and settlement procedures in Florida. What is the role of an insurance adjuster in the claims handling process? A. Investigating the claim and determining the amount of loss. B. Issuing insurance policies to new customers. C. Arbitrating disputes between insurers and policyholders. D. Setting insurance premium rates. Correct answer A. Investigating the claim and determining the amount of loss. Explanation. An insurance adjuster investigates claims, assesses the extent of the insurer's liability, and determines the amount of loss to be paid to the policyholder. Option A is correct because it accurately describes the role of an adjuster. Option B is incorrect as issuing policies is done by agents or insurers. Option C is incorrect as arbitration is a separate dispute resolution process. Option D is incorrect because premium rates are determined by underwriters and actuaries. Question 65. Emerging issues in personal lines insurance. Cyber risk in insurance. Which of the following is a common coverage included in a personal cyber insurance policy in Florida? A. Protection against identity theft. B. Coverage for flood damage. C. Liability for auto accidents. D. Medical payments for injuries. Correct answer A. Protection against identity theft. Explanation. Personal cyber insurance policies commonly include coverage for identity theft, providing assistance and reimbursement for expenses related to recovering from identity theft. Option A is correct because it describes a common coverage in cyber insurance policies. Option B is incorrect as flood damage is covered by flood insurance. Option C is incorrect as it pertains to auto insurance. Option D is incorrect as it relates to medical payments, which are covered under health or auto insurance policies. Question 66. Personal auto policy. Medical payments coverage. Part B. What does medical payments coverage? Part B. In a personal auto policy in Florida typically cover A. Medical expenses for the insured and passengers regardless of fault. B. Damage to the insured's vehicle. C. Liability for injuries to other drivers. D. Uninsured motorist coverage. Correct answer A. Medical expenses for the insured and passengers regardless of fault. Explanation. Medical payments coverage, Part B, provides coverage for medical expenses incurred by the insured and passengers in the event of an accident, regardless of who is at fault. Option A is correct because it accurately describes this coverage. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to physical damage coverage. Option C is incorrect as it involves liability coverage. Option D is incorrect because it is related to uninsured motorist coverage, Part C. Question 67. Homeowners insurance. Coverage C, personal property. What is typically covered under Coverage C, personal property in a homeowner's insurance policy in Florida? A. Personal belongings of the insured anywhere in the world. B. The physical structure of the dwelling. C. Liability for injuries to others on the property. D. Additional living expenses. Correct answer A. Personal belongings of the insured anywhere in the world. Explanation. Coverage C, personal property in a homeowner's insurance policy covers the insured's personal belongings, regardless of where the loss occurs, providing worldwide coverage. Option A is correct because it accurately describes the coverage for personal property. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to coverage where dwelling. Option C is incorrect as it involves liability coverage. Option D is incorrect as it relates to Coverage D, loss of use. Question 60. Inland marine insurance. Valuable personal property coverage. Which of the following items would typically be covered under a valuable personal property endorsement in Florida? A. A diamond engagement ring. B. A car. C. A commercial building. D. Farm equipment. Correct answer A. A diamond engagement ring. Explanation: valuable personal property endorsements cover high-value personal items, such as jewelry, which includes items like a diamond engagement ring. Option A is correct because it represents the type of high-value personal property typically covered. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to auto insurance. Option C is incorrect as it involves commercial property insurance. Option D is incorrect as it pertains to farm insurance. Question 69. Ethics in insurance. Regulatory requirements for ethical practices. Which of the following is a regulatory requirement for insurance agents in Florida regarding ethical practices? A. Disclosure of all material information to clients. B. Offering the lowest possible premium regardless of coverage. C. Avoiding the sale of policies to high-risk individuals. D. Charging additional fees for faster claim processing. Correct answer A. Disclosure of all material information to clients. Explanation: insurance agents are required to disclose all material information to clients to ensure that they can make informed decisions. This is a key aspect of ethical practices and regulatory compliance. Option A is correct because it reflects this regulatory requirement. Option B is incorrect because the agent's role is to offer appropriate coverage, not just the lowest premium. Option C is incorrect because agents must follow underwriting guidelines, not avoid selling to high-risk individuals. Option D is incorrect as charging extra fees for faster processing would be unethical. Question 70. Claims handling. Dispute resolution and litigation in Florida. What is a common method for resolving disputes between an insurer and a policyholder over a claim? A. Mediation. B. Ignoring the dispute. C. Unilateral decision by the insurer. D. Immediate litigation without any prior steps. Correct answer A. Mediation. Explanation: mediation is a common and effective method for resolving disputes between an insurer and a policyholder over a claim. It involves a neutral third party who helps facilitate a resolution without the need for immediate litigation. Option A is correct because it accurately describes a common dispute resolution method. Option B is incorrect as disputes cannot be ignored. Option C is incorrect as a unilateral decision by the insurer would not be fair. Option D is incorrect because immediate litigation is usually a last resort after other resolution methods have been attempted. Question 71. Personal auto policy PAP. Uninsured under insured motorist coverage. Part C. Which of the following scenarios would be covered under uninsured under insured motorist coverage? Part C in a personal auto policy in Florida. A. Damage to the insured's vehicle caused by a falling tree. B. Bodily injury to the insured caused by a driver with insufficient insurance. C. Medical expenses for the insured and passengers regardless of fault. D. Theft of the insured's vehicle. Correct answer B. Bodily injury to the insured caused by a driver with insufficient insurance. Explanation: uninsured under insured motorist coverage. Part C provides coverage for bodily injury to the insured when involved in an accident with a driver who has insufficient or no insurance. Option B is correct because it accurately describes this coverage. Option A is incorrect as it pertains to physical damage coverage. Part D. Option C is incorrect as it relates to medical payments coverage. Part B. Option D is incorrect as it involves coverage for theft under physical damage coverage. Question 72. Homeowners insurance. Loss of use. Coverage D. What does loss of use? Coverage D in a homeowner's insurance policy in Florida provide? A. Repair costs for the dwelling. B. Additional living expenses when the home is uninhabitable. C. Coverage for personal property. D. Liability for injuries to others on the property. Correct answer B. Additional living expenses when the home is uninhabitable. Explanation: loss of use. Coverage D in a homeowner's insurance policy covers additional living expenses incurred when the insured's home is uninhabitable due to covered peril. Option B is correct because it accurately describes this coverage. Option A is incorrect as it pertains to coverage dwelling. Option C is incorrect as it relates to coverage C, personal property. Option D is incorrect as it involves liability coverage, coverage E. Question 73, flood insurance, exclusions and Limitations: which of the following is typically excluded from coverage under the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) in Florida? A. Damage to landscaping such as trees and shrubs. B. Damage to the structure of the home. C. Damage to personal property inside the home. D. Increased cost of compliance with building codes. Correct answer: A. Damage to landscaping such as trees and shrubs. Explanation: the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) typically excludes coverage for damage to landscaping, including trees, shrubs, and other outdoor property. Option A is correct because it reflects this common exclusion. Option B is incorrect as structural damage is covered. Option C is incorrect as personal property damage inside the home is covered. Option D is incorrect as the NFIP covers increased costs of compliance with building codes after a flood. Question 74. Dwelling Policy DP. Policy conditions and exclusions: which of the following is a common exclusion in a dwelling policy DP in Florida? A. Fire damage to the dwelling. B. Earthquake damage. C. Loss of rental income. D. Personal property damage. Correct answer: B. Earthquake damage. Explanation: earthquake damage is commonly excluded from standard dwelling policies and usually requires a separate endorsement or policy. Option B is correct because it accurately describes a common exclusion. Option A is incorrect as fire damage is typically covered. Option C is incorrect as loss of rental income is covered under coverage. D. Fair rental value. Option D is incorrect as personal property damage is covered under coverage. C. Personal property. Question 75. Personal liability insurance. Exclusions and conditions: which of the following is commonly excluded from personal liability insurance in Florida? A. Liability for injuries to guests on the insured's property. B. Liability for damage caused by the insured's children. C. Liability arising from business activities conducted at home. D. Liability for property damage to a neighbor's property. Correct answer: C. Liability arising from business activities conducted at home. Explanation: personal liability insurance commonly excludes coverage for liability arising from business activities conducted at home, as these require separate business liability policies. Option C is correct because it reflects this exclusion. Options A, B, and D are incorrect as they typically fall under personal liability coverage provided they are not related to business activities. Question 76. Personal auto policy PAP. Coverage for damage to your auto. Part D. Which of the following is an example of a peril covered under coverage for damage to your auto? Part D. In a personal auto policy in Florida. A. Collision with another vehicle. B. Liability for injuries to other drivers. C. Medical payments for the insured and passengers. D. Rental car reimbursement. Correct answer: A. Collision with another vehicle. Explanation: coverage for damage to your auto. Part D includes collision coverage, which covers damage to the insured's vehicle resulting from a collision with another vehicle or object. Option A is correct because it accurately describes a covered peril. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to liability coverage. Option C is incorrect as it involves medical payments coverage. Option D is incorrect because rental car reimbursement is an optional coverage, not a standard part of Part D. Question 77. Homeowners insurance. Perils insured against under a standard homeowners insurance policy, HO3 in Florida. Which of the following perils is typically covered? A. Fire and lightning. B. Flood. C. Earthquake. D. War. Correct answer: A. Fire and lightning. Explanation: a standard homeowners insurance policy, HO3, typically covers a range of perils, including fire and lightning. Option A is correct because it accurately describes covered perils. Options B and C are incorrect because flood and earthquake coverage usually require separate policies or endorsements. Option D is incorrect because damage caused by war is typically excluded from coverage. Question 78. Insurance principles and concepts. Principle of indemnity. What is the principle of indemnity in insurance? A. The insured should be restored to their financial position before the loss. B. The insured should receive a profit from their loss. C. The insurer should pay more than the actual loss amount. D. The insured should always receive the policy limit amount. Correct answer: A. The insured should be restored to their financial position before the loss. Explanation: the principle of indemnity states that insurance should restore the insured to their financial position before the loss without allowing for profit. Option A is correct because it accurately describes this principle. Option B is incorrect because insurance is not intended to provide a profit. Option C is incorrect as the insurer should not pay more than the actual loss amount. Option D is incorrect because the insured is compensated for the actual loss, not necessarily the policy limit amount. Question 79. Personal umbrella policy. Exclusions: which of the following is typically excluded from coverage under personal umbrella policy in Florida? A. Liability for bodily injury caused by the insured. B. Liability for property damage caused by the insured. C. Liability arising from business activities. D. Liability for personal injury caused by the insured. Correct answer: C. Liability arising from business activities. Explanation: personal umbrella policies typically exclude liability arising from business activities, as these require separate business liability insurance. Option C is correct because it reflects this common exclusion. Options A, B, and D are incorrect as they generally fall under the broad liability coverage provided by a personal umbrella policy, provided they are not related to business activities. Question 80. Ethics in insurance. Professional ethics and conduct: which of the following actions demonstrates ethical behavior by an insurance agent in Florida? A. Fully disclosing all policy terms and conditions to a client. B. Offering coverage that the client does not need to increase commission. C. Misrepresenting the benefits of a policy to close the sale. D. Avoiding difficult questions from the client about the policy. Correct answer: A. Fully disclosing all policy terms and conditions to a client. Explanation: ethical behavior by an insurance agent includes fully disclosing all policy terms and conditions to ensure the client understands what they are purchasing. Option A is correct because it demonstrates transparency and integrity. Option B is incorrect as it involves unethical behavior aimed at increasing commission. Option C is incorrect because misrepresentation is unethical and possibly illegal. Option D is incorrect as it shows a lack of transparency and responsibility. Question 81. Personal auto policy liability coverage. Part A. Which of the following is covered under liability coverage? Part A in a personal auto policy in Florida. A. Bodily injury to another driver caused by the insured. B. Damage to the insured's vehicle. C. Medical payments for the insured and passengers. D. Theft of the insured's vehicle. Correct answer: A. Bodily injury to another driver caused by the insured. Explanation: liability coverage. Part A provides coverage for bodily injury and property damage that the insured is legally responsible for due to an auto accident. Option A is correct because it describes bodily injury liability. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to physical damage coverage. Option C is incorrect as it relates to medical payments coverage, Part B. Option D is incorrect as it involves theft, which is covered under physical damage coverage, Part D. Question 82. Homeowners insurance. Coverage E, personal liability. What does coverage E, personal liability, in a homeowners insurance policy in Florida typically provide? A. Protection against claims of bodily injury or property damage. B. Coverage for personal property. C. Repair costs for the dwelling. D. Additional living expenses. Correct answer: A. Protection against claims of bodily injury or property damage. Explanation: coverage E, personal liability, in a homeowner's insurance policy provides protection against claims for bodily injury or property damage for which the insured is legally responsible. Option A is correct because it accurately describes personal liability coverage. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to coverage C, personal property. Option C is incorrect as it relates to coverage with dwelling. Option D is incorrect as it involves coverage D, loss of use. Question 83. Flood insurance. Coverage parts: which of the following is typically covered under the building property coverage part of a flood insurance policy in Florida? A. The foundation and structural components of the home. B. The personal property inside the home. C. Additional living expenses. D. Landscaping. Correct answer: A. The foundation and structural components of the home. Explanation: The building property coverage part of a flood insurance policy covers the foundation and structural components of the home, including walls, floors, and electrical systems. Option A is correct because it accurately describes what is covered under building property. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to personal property coverage. Option C is incorrect as additional living expenses are not typically covered under standard flood policies. Option D is incorrect as landscaping is excluded. Question 84. Insurance principles and concepts. Utmost good faith. What does the principle of utmost good faith require in an insurance contract? A. Both parties must disclose all relevant information honestly. B. The insurer must always pay the policy limit. C. The insured must always accept the insurer's settlement offer. D. Both parties must negotiate the policy terms after a claim. Correct answer A. Both parties must disclose all relevant information honestly. Explanation. The principle of utmost good faith requires that both the insurer and the insured disclose all material information honestly and fully to ensure a fair and transparent contract. Option A is correct because it accurately describes this principle. Option B is incorrect as the insurer pays based on the actual loss. Option C is incorrect as the insured is not required to accept any offer without negotiation. Option D is incorrect because the policy terms are set at the time of contract, not after a claim. Question 85. Inland marine insurance. Personal articles floater. What type of property is typically covered under personal articles floater in Florida? A. High-value personal items such as jewelry and fine art. B. The insured's primary residence. C. Vehicles used for commuting. D. Commercial inventory. Correct answer A. High-value personal items such as jewelry and fine art. Explanation. A personal articles floater provides coverage for high-value personal items such as jewelry, fine art, antiques, and collectibles. Option A is correct because it describes the type of property typically covered. Option B is incorrect as it pertains to homeowners insurance. Option C is incorrect as it involves auto insurance. Option D is incorrect as it relates to commercial insurance. Question 86. Personal auto policy PAP. Duties after an accident or loss. Part A. Which of the following is a duty of the insured after an accident or loss under personal auto policy in Florida? A. Notify the insurer as soon as practicable. B. Ignore the incident if it was minor. C. Repair the vehicle before notifying the insurer. D. Settle the claim directly with the other party involved. Correct answer A. Notify the insurer as soon as practicable. Explanation. After an accident or loss, the insured is required to notify the insurer as soon as practicable to ensure proper claim handling and compliance with policy terms. Option A is correct because it reflects this duty. Option B is incorrect as all incidents must be reported regardless of perceived severity. Option C is incorrect because the insurer needs to inspect the damage before repairs. Option D is incorrect as settling claims without the insurer's involvement can lead to coverage issues. Question 87. Homeowners insurance. Policy exclusions. Which of the following is typically excluded from coverage under a standard homeowners insurance policy in Florida? A. Fire damage to the dwelling. B. Flood damage. C. Theft of personal property. D. Liability for injuries to guests. Correct answer B. Flood damage. Explanation. Flood damage is typically excluded from standard homeowners insurance policies and requires separate flood insurance. Option B is correct because it reflects this common exclusion. Option A is incorrect as fire damage is covered. Option C is incorrect as theft of personal property is covered. Option D is incorrect as liability for injuries to guests is covered under personal liability coverage. Question 88. Insurance. Principles and concepts. Insurable interest. When must an insurable interest exist for a policy to be valid in Florida? A. At the time of loss. B. At the time of policy application only. C. At the time of policy renewal only. D. At both the time of policy application and renewal. Correct answer A. At the time of loss. Explanation. Insurable interest must exist at the time of loss for the policy to be valid and for a claim to be paid. Option A is correct because it reflects this requirement. Option B is incorrect as insurable interest is not limited to the time of application. Option C is incorrect as insurable interest must be present at the time of loss, not just at renewal. Option D is incorrect because insurable interest is not necessarily required at renewal, only at the time of loss. Question 89. Personal liability insurance. Liability limits. Which of the following is true regarding liability limits in a personal liability insurance policy in Florida? A. They determine the maximum amount the insurer will pay per occurrence. B. They are irrelevant to the coverage provided. C. They only apply to property damage claims. D. They are set by the insured's state of residence. Correct answer A. They determine the maximum amount the insurer will pay per occurrence. Explanation. Liability limits in a personal liability insurance policy determine the maximum amount the insurer will pay per occurrence for covered claims. Option A is correct because it accurately describes the function of liability limits. Option B is incorrect as liability limits are crucial to the coverage provided. Option C is incorrect because liability limits apply to both bodily injury and property damage claims. Option D is incorrect because liability limits are chosen by the insured, not set by the state. Question 90. Ethics in insurance. Consequences of unethical behavior. Which of the following is a potential consequence of unethical behavior by an insurance agent in Florida? A. Revocation of the agent's license. B. Increased commissions. C. Guaranteed renewal of policies. D. Exemption from state regulations. Correct answer A. Revocation of the agent's license. Explanation. Unethical behavior by an insurance agent can result in severe consequences, including the revocation of the agent's license. Option A is correct because it accurately describes a potential consequence. Option B is incorrect as unethical behavior does not lead to increased commissions. Option C is incorrect as unethical behavior jeopardizes policy renewals. Option D is incorrect as unethical behavior would lead to stricter enforcement of state regulations, not exemptions.